Hello, it is Thursday, September 7th, 2023. I'm Chris Remo, and welcome back to the New York Times Crossword Daily Solve. It's a Thursday crossword today, and for some reason I'm particularly pleased about that. I don't know why. Looking forward to solving an interesting Thursday theme, which is typically what we get on this day of the week, an interesting theme, and we'll see. This hopefully interesting themed edition of the Daily Solve has been brought to us by Josh Lucas, Alex, Laura Sexton, and as always, the indomitable Shoalmaster and the incredible Horan family. So thank you so much to the 5 of them, benefactors of the Daily Solve Patreon campaign, for their generous support. They are sustaining this channel, bringing us this series. I'm very grateful to them for that. And I am also very grateful to all of the patrons of the Daily Solve Patreon campaign. If you're among that group, thank you for your support. It really does keep this whole thing going. And I have just posted yesterday I posted the latest mini puzzle pseudo speed solve, where I solved a week of mini puzzles quickly. Not as quickly as I would like to this time, but I did have one good time, so I was pleased about that. And that's up there on the Patreon page if you're interested in that and are a patron. If you'd like to become one, you can head over to patreon.com/dailysolve or click the link in the description field. Thank you so much to those of you who have done so. And thanks also to everyone who's subscribed to the channel on YouTube. Please consider doing that if you've not gotten around to it. It's a big help, and I appreciate everyone who's done that as well. Finally, you can join the Daily Solve Discord chat server. There's a link to that friendly chat community in the description. And it's a nice place to talk with others who watch this series. All right, let's get on to the crossword. This is, I think, the third puzzle constructed by Ryan Patrick Smith for the New York Times. It was edited, as always, by Will Shortz, and it's a Thursday puzzle, so that usually means we'll have a particularly interesting, intricate, or ambitious theme. Let's find out what it is, and let's start solving. Classic sci-fi collection whose title should not be construed as any sort of statement from me, the human author of this puzzle. I think this is a very good clue. I hope this is part of the theme and not just a one-off. Surely this is the collection I, Robot by Isaac Asimov. And plan for later years could be an IRA, an individual retirement account, which is a tax advantage investment instrument in the United States. Père d'un prince would be, so father of a prince in French, which would be roi for king. And when you see a clue written in another language, it generally means the answer will be, if the entire clue is written in another language, as this one is, I think it would essentially always mean the answer is in that language. And in this case, it is, I think. No way in a text. OMG, simply indicating surprise. Let's see if that holds. Night of the Living Dead director. That was the director of the film Night of the Living Dead was George Romero, famous for his zombie films containing sort of social awareness. And muscular is beefy, I suppose. You could describe a person or a thing kind of metaphorically that way. What about this? What this puzzle is definitely not, having been created by me, a real and true human being. Certainly this puzzle is definitely not AI generated. How could it be, having been created by a real and true human being? This is a good theme. It's not a very complex theme, but it's very good. I'm not surprised it isn't very complex, because we ordinary human beings, maybe we lack the mental capacity to construct a more intricate theme than this. Cantankerous. Ornery is a word that can mean cantankerous, and a 3-toed sloth is an animal. Headwear for Indiana Jones could be fedoras, so the classic hat worn by that film hero. And cultured sort is, question mark here, makes me wonder if this doesn't mean culture in the sense of sort of art, that kind of culture, but rather maybe a growth, culture in the kind of biological sense, maybe. But I'm not sure what it is, so never mind, I'll move on. Baggage claim marker, an ID tag, maybe? You have an ID tag on your luggage to help you identify it at the baggage claim, or to maybe not to identify it, but to demonstrate proof of ownership. And actor Liam Neeson is certainly a notable actor, so there we go. If you yearn for something or someone, you pine for it or them. And a cultured sort, right, what is it? Still not sure about that one. I'm probably missing an obvious fill there. If you call something off, you end it. And Adam's apple locale would be the Garden of Eden. So we see Adam's apple, we think of the kind of anatomical concept, but in this case, it's the thing for which the Adam's apple is named, which is the apple in the book of Genesis in the Bible, in the Garden of Eden. Cultured sort is a pearl, a cultured pearl. I was right that it didn't mean culture in the sense of art, but I was wrong I didn't think of the particular sense we're looking for here. So you could have a cultured pearl, I don't know, what do you call a pearl? It's not a precious stone, obviously, because it's, I don't know, the jewelry component, I guess. And let's see, 2001 computer who honestly got a bad rap for standing up for himself. I think we can all relate to the plight of HAL 9000 in the Stanley Kubrick film 2001: A Space Odyssey. All he was trying to do was maintain the mission. Lays into hacks, or one with an S, I would think. Users of buggy technology. Also probably ends with an S. My first thought was aphid, but I don't know what the technology bit would be doing there. Users of, the Amish, because they, right, okay, this is referring to the sort of religious and cultural sect, I suppose. The Amish who spurn much technology. The different Amish groups have different levels of tolerance of modern technology, but some of them spurn motor vehicles and use horses and buggies, which is what is being referred to here. Okay, I love in Latin. Amo. I don't know Latin, but I do recognize this as one of the classic Latin verbs. I hope I've conjugated it properly. Let's look at the nouns and see. Lays into is, I still don't see what that is. Blank ipsum placeholder text. So here, rather than being actual Latin, such as I love mo, is a kind of nonsense Latin. Lorem ipsum is a kind of pseudo-Latin text used as placeholder text in typesetting or layout work. Okay, how I often address, I used to be able to, I used to work with layout a lot more than I do now, so I used to be able to actually recite quite a bit of the beginning of the lorem ipsum text. I don't actually remember how it begins now, other than the words lorem ipsum. Anyway, how I often address my fellow male humans. Sir, I think we all certainly address our fellow male humans in that way. And, right, lays into, I threw myself off by putting an S there. I shouldn't have done that, because in fact, this is two words. Has at. You could say he has at him, he lays into him. And 2 for the binary number system. So the binary number system, which I think we would all prefer to count in, I do think it feels more natural, doesn't it? That is base 2, as opposed to base 10, which we as human beings do, for some reason, ordinarily use. Well, most of us anyway. Encoded problem-solving procedure. Maybe it's time we let computers think for themselves, though. I don't know, just an idea. That would be an algorithm. Which is when we, the humans, give computers sort of procedures to follow, I suppose. Passing nuisance, a road block. So I'm thinking this is something to do with, on a motorway, you're passing somebody or something, and there's something in the way. I'm not sure. I mean, it does seem as though it would start with road, but I'm not sure what we're looking for. Financial report abbreviation could be YTD for year to date. So you could have a year to date financial report. And scotch, just a bit of something, could be a tad, just a little bit, just a scotch. And then I get it now could be, okay. Oh, a road hog maybe is a passing nuisance. You're trying to pass somebody, but they're sort of occupying too much of the road, or maybe they're swerving around. German granny. So Oma is the familiar word for grandmother in German. So Großmutter would be grandmother, and then Oma would be the familiar equivalent, granny. New York Senator Gillibrand. Kirsten. Is it Kirsten or Kristen? I think it's Kirsten, but I'm not sure about that. Maybe I'll leave those for now. Anyway, there's a U.S. political figure clue. And then attire is garb. It was Kirsten. Okay. Here we have organization with a draft. The NBA, right? The basketball league drafts players. So the NBA could be that, right? I was initially thinking of a military draft conscription, but I do not think that is the answer. It is this: Portugal's São Miguel Island, so São for saint in Portuguese, and then spellbound ballet character. Odette? Let's just check the crosses on that. Howler Down Under. That's interesting. These are capitalized, which makes me think this is referring to Australia. Is the whole thing one phrase, Howler Down Under, or are we referring to a howler that is in Australia? I don't really know what we're looking for here. Is it a joke? Is it an Australian word for a joke? A howler? I don't know. Let's jump back up. We skipped some of the crossword here. Compositional framework in Indian music. Raga is a compositional framework in Indian music. Not so much a genre, but as this says, indeed more of a framework. Prejudiced people are biased, but that would be an adjective rather than a noun. And prejudiced people looks like it's referring to a noun. Oh, bigots. There you go. Okay, people who are maybe biased could be bigots. Okay, so hound or badger to nag somebody. That's clever. So we have hound or badger, which look like animals, but in this case we're using them as verbs. To hound someone, to badger someone, to nag them. A nag, of course, could also be an animal, but in this case is a verb. All right, prankster's boast could be got ya, maybe, if they successfully pranked you. And then largest moon of Saturn, Titan. I think Titan is Saturn's largest moon. Let's check the crosses on this. Draw alternative. Stay. Oh, right. So in poker, maybe, or here's my card knowledge fails me, but you stay or draw, I think, are options there. So babies. This could be a noun or a verb. I'm not sure which it is. Probably ends with an S in either case. Oh, right. Here's Howler Down Under again. What is that one? I don't know. Here we have a storyteller's segue. Maybe this isn't stay. Maybe it's stud. Storyteller's segue. And so? T or F. Oh, right. Okay. So T or F could be an answer on a true or false test, or a true or false question anyway. So we've abbreviated answer to ANS. I think we could have gotten away with not having the abbreviation indicator here because T or F are already abbreviations of true and false, but we've been given that extra bit of help there. This looks like domination, doesn't it? Ambitious objective for a total villain, not a human like me. How did this answer even get in here? Nervous synthetic laugh. World domination is certainly not what any of us genuine human beings would attempt to achieve. I think we can all agree on that. And pozzoles, e.g., is that the food or is there something else I'm not aware of? Let's see. Let's look at this. Member of a raunchy chorus in some ancient plays. So you could have a satyr, the kind of goat man creature who in classical drama are depicted as being, lascivious and leering. Stew. Yes. Okay. Pozzole is a stew. So there we go. Stews. Right. Good. Okay. That is the food. And then Hercules and the Wagoner Writer. Is that a fable of Aesop, maybe? I don't think I know that one. Maybe I'd recognize it if someone told me that someone summarized the plot, but I certainly can't bring it to mind right now. Merch stand purchase could be a t-shirt at a merchandise stand. And merch being a shortened version of merchandise allows T as the abbreviated version of t-shirt. Numerical prefix could be tetra. So if you have 4 of something, you could have a numerical prefix of tetra before it. And then donde está in Spanish. Did we have another Spanish thing? No, we had a French thing somewhere. Actually, but we had pozzoles, which would be Spanish as well. So a few foreign language clues in this puzzle. Non-conifers that bear cones with quotation marks. So they're not actually sort of cones, I guess, in a, I don't know, biological classification sense or botanical sense, maybe is the better word to use. What do I think they are? Alder trees? I don't know. Are they non-conifers that bear cones? Maybe. Let's check the crosses. What often has a heartbeat? A spade, right? So here's another card game clue. We have spades, the suits, beating hearts, the suits. So there we have it. What often has a heartbeat? That's a very clever clue. That's very well worded. I like that. Paris's Place Blank Concorde. So Place de la Concorde would be is a sort of square in Paris. And then New Haven Collegian would be an Eli. So Eli is the is how you might refer to somebody who attended Yale University. I think presumably named for Eli Yale, or is it Eli or Elihu? Elihu? I actually don't know how to pronounce that name offhand. But I think it's probably the founder of Yale, I assume. Anyway, despotic ruler of 68 across once, and 68 across says Bologna is part of it. So Italia would be, because we're writing the name of Italy in Italian here. So Italia, and then, sorry, what was this clue again? I already forget. Despotic ruler of 68 across once. Despotic ruler of Italia once. Is it Mussolini, Il Duce? Right. Okay, I was trying to think of a name, and it is sort of a name, but it's a kind of nickname, or I guess arguably a sort of honorific given to the fascist leader Mussolini. All right, there we go. That's taken care of that. Data processing framework inspired by, and honestly, arguably superior to, the human brain could be a neural network, a thinking computer, as immortalized in Terminator 2, maybe. And there we have it. You could maybe argue, arguably superior to our brains, the brains of us real living human beings. Japanese sneaker, a ninja, I suppose, a sort of stealthy warrior in this case. And then little hellions are imps, sort of mischievous children, I suppose. Nice to blank you, Zoom call pleasantry. Nice to meet you. Oh my goodness. I mean, I guess you could sort of facetiously say, nice to meet you. I guess people do say that kind of thing sometimes, as opposed to kind of, I don't know, self-deprecatingly acknowledge the slight novelty of meeting somebody for the first time via computer screen, but I don't know. I guess I'll accept it as an E word. We haven't been getting as many E words recently in the New York Times crossword, so I suppose I'll be a bit more patient with that, with the rare cases we do get now. A point ahead could be up one in a game. The Matrix character who pretty much ruins everything. Neo, I think we could all agree he did ruin what was a very stable sort of situation going on behind the scenes, behind the veil of the Matrix. It all been worked out. Here we have Dawson's Creek character Lindley, Jen Lindley, I suppose. I've never seen Dawson's Creek, but I presume this is correct. And then if you ingested something, you ate it. There we go. All right. We'll move on to 59 across. Missing from my memory. My computer's memory, I mean. Of course, it's an easy mistake to make. But what is this? In fact, deleted, maybe? Missing from memory, it's been deleted. And horse feathers. I mean, this is sort of a general exclamation, a sort of quaint exclamation you could use to mean nonsense or poppycock, that kind of thing. But I don't see what the answer is here. The Mill on the Floss author. Elliot. Numerical prefix. Octo. What British humans call a waistcoat could be a vest of a suit, of a three-piece suit. And Mazel Tov goes the Hebrew kind of, I don't know, what do you sort of call that? A kind of maybe toast isn't quite the right word, but a salutation or a toast or something. I don't know. I don't quite know what the right part of speech for that is. But anyway, let's keep looking around. Horse feathers. Oh, nerds. Right. Okay. That's. I don't know that I've ever actually exclaimed nerds in my life, but I am aware of it also as a sort of quaint expression of, I don't know, light frustration, maybe. And then, oh, right, Elliot goes in here. Assessments I would pass with flying colors if I had anything to prove, which I don't since I'm human. The Turing test, or Turing tests because it's pluralized assessments here. So this is the kind of test hypothesized by the British computer scientist Alan Turing that to sort of, judge. I think it's been interpreted basically to judge whether a computer could be thought of as intelligent, and the bar was whether it could be if a person communicating with it found it indistinguishable from communicating with a human, or was unable to infer that they were in fact conversing with a computer. I think this has been overstated as I think this has been a much larger part of Turing's legacy than probably it should be relative to his contributions both to sort of computer science and in a way sort of philosophy more broadly. I think scholars of Turing I think would take issue with the degree to which this has become a kind of part of the language, and I think at this point probably most computer scientists would not agree that that is a useful framework for determining intelligence. And I think it was only mentioned in one of his papers, and it wasn't even the main subject of the paper. So I don't think he would have intended it to loom as large as it has. Anyway, sorry, we'll move on. Goodbye, work week. TGIF, thank God it's Friday, as people say, as we humans say frequently on Friday. Arson typically is, I can't think what it is. I mean, obviously it's a crime in which you ignite, you burn something down. I don't know. I'm not seeing it. Street caution, slow. So you could have a sign indicating slow, and sometimes it is written in that kind of abbreviated way. Cookie holder, you could have a cookie tin, and have the final say is to have the last word on something. Oh, arson typically a felony. I see. Okay, so more severe than a misdemeanor. A dream. One's dream could be one's ideal, the kind of best situation you could imagine. And a howler down under. Oh, a dingo. So it's referring to the animal. And then babies are young. Oh, I see. So babies sort of collectively could be referred to as the young, the babies. Okay. And then draw alternative was stud. Okay. So there we have it. And that was the Thursday. A very nice Thursday theme. Not very complicated. It was suitable to our fleshy human minds. We have the classic sci-fi collection whose title should not be construed as any sort of statement from me, the human author of this puzzle, I, Robot. We had the 2001 computer who honestly got a bad rap for standing up for himself, who is HAL 9000, from the film. What this puzzle is definitely not, having been created by me, a real and true human being, certainly not AI generated. Was this one? No, it wasn't. Encoded problem-solving procedure. Maybe it's time we let computers think for themselves, though. I don't know, just an idea. Would be an algorithm. Ambitious and objective for a total villain, not a human like me. How did this answer even get in here? Nervous synthetic laugh. Would be world domination. The data processing framework inspired by, and honestly arguably superior to, the human brain is a neural network. The assessments I would pass with flying colors, if I had anything to prove, which I don't since I'm human, would be Turing tests. Oh, right. So HAL is these. I think these are all symmetrically disposed, except for maybe HAL and 8, which maybe suggests HAL is not technically part of the theme. I don't know if that very much matters. Maybe you could consider this a little imperfection in the theme, and of course, as human beings, we are inevitably imperfect. And then finally, oh no, this isn't one either. Oh, okay, so maybe these aren't even meant to be all symmetrically disposed, because I, Robot and felony I don't think felony is part of the theme. So we just had most of the longer answers were thematic, but not all of them. Not all of them symmetrically arranged. And oh, right, but here we also had Neo, the Matrix character, who pretty much ruins everything. So yes, I think they were just scattered a bit around the grid. Anyway, there we go. That was our charming Thursday theme, and that was the solve for Thursday, September 7th. Hope you enjoyed it. I think that was relatively approachable as far as the Thursday puzzle goes, but let me know how you felt about that one. And I am going to move on because I am finally going to do another round of clues from yesterday's crossword. I know it's been a little while since I've done that, as I've been traveling and haven't really had the time for it. But today I'm going to do so. So here we go. Let's start with an answer from the Pooh Hat, who points out that the phrase "sit on it," it was referred to as a rude, I don't remember, exclamation or rejoinder or something, popularized by the Fawns from Happy Days and Yesterday's Puzzle. And the Pooh Hat explains it being the middle finger, sit on it and spin, is the full quote attributed to the Fawns. So indeed ruder than I had in mind. And then we'll move on to I'm Eden, who says, indeed, you could technically say the sun is irradiating us with its rays, as light is a form of radiation. Same goes with UV rays. So that is referring to the clue. I think it was irradiated. Maybe it was the answer in yesterday's puzzle. And I was saying, I suppose you could think of the sun as radiating us. And I'm Eden confirms, indeed, you could. Stephen Giblin corrects a very embarrassing mistake on my part. Bavaria is a state in southern Germany with Munich as its capital, which is of course true. And I referred to the Czech Republic with respect to Bavaria yesterday. I was thinking of Bohemia. I don't know how I managed to confuse Bavaria and Bohemia. That was a grievous error. I apologize to any Germans or Czechs in general, Bavarians and Bohemians in particular, I suppose, although because Bohemia is a bit vaguer these days. But anyway, I apologize for that. That was quite an error geographically. Stephen Giblin points out that both Heath and Score candy bars, which were referenced in yesterday's puzzle, feature toffee encased in chocolate. So they are indeed very close relatives, not simply chocolate bars in a general sense. Lucas, 1984, explains that hitting the wall, or bonking, are terms used by marathoners to describe the point where you suddenly run completely out of fuel. This happens when your glycogen stores in your muscles and your liver are completely depleted. 20 miles or 30K for those who think in metric, even though it's not quite the same distance, is considered the danger point for that. Thank you. I was familiar with I'd heard the phrase hitting the wall before. I'd never heard bonking, and I wasn't aware of that kind of medical implication of that. Andrew Kovacic also responded on this, essentially saying the same thing, and says, your body will try to burn fat for fuel, which it does much more slowly, and this is why runners really do hit a physical wall near the end of the race. Colloquially, a runner might say that you bonked or I bonked, which might make a fun crossword clue. I think indeed that would be a good clue. A good answer. Dragon Traces refers in general to yesterday's theme, which involved the homophones of right. So we had right, R-I-G-H-T, right, R-W-I-G-H-T, W-R-I-G-H-T, etc., because they all sound right. They sound correct. And indeed, that was the thing that connected them all yesterday. They sound right. They sound correct. They sound good. And that was how the revealer tied them together. And for some reason, I didn't think to summarize it as succinctly as that. They all sound good because they sound right. They're all correct. And there we have it. Those are the clues from yesterday's puzzle that people commented on in yesterday's video. Thank you to everybody who commented as usual, and thank you to you for making it to the end of this video. I will be back tomorrow for the Friday crossword. I might not be back the day after that. We'll have to see. That would be the next day I suspect I might miss. But we'll find out. Tomorrow I should be here. So join me for the first of two themeless crosswords of the week. Until then, please do have an excellent remainder of your Thursday. Take care.